All right, peeps, episode number 3, and this one regarding qualities to look for in an agent. We've been touching on several of these topics in episodes 1 and 2, but let's turn up the granularity a little bit and talk about some of them in specific. I don't think I need to put these words in your mouth. The very first quality you are looking for in a real estate professional, or really any professional that you are looking to hire for any job, anywhere, anytime, is responsiveness and communication. This is 75% of literally every job, guys. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, a contractor, a realtor, or anything else. If the public is reaching out to you for anything, whether it's topical questions, to hire you for a job, or any dang thing else, if you as a service provider are not very timely in your response, very effective in your communication, and ruthless in your follow-up, you're not doing your job, period. Doesn't matter how much experience you've got, how much knowledge you have about specific municipalities or problems or pitfalls or whatever. If you're not picking up the phone and getting back to people in a timely fashion, you stink. You're a stinky, stinky realtor, and nobody needs no stinking realtor, right? So let's talk about that. I am the father of 2 young sons. I am very involved in my kids' lives, and I want to be. That being said, the designation of realtor and being a real estate professional demands just about 24-hour accountability. Silly things that some folks wouldn't really see as wildly effective communication really go a tremendous way into keeping everybody in a transaction where they need to be on the same page at all times so that nothing slips through the cracks. Something like my voicemail greeting. If you call and I don't pick up the phone in the area of 6:30 to 8 p.m., you'll receive a voicemail greeting talking about how I am giving some baths and using a rag to wipe my youngest son's entire face down after he's eaten some spaghetti, and you're just not going to get a hold of me during those hours. I'm not even looking at a phone, very much less picking one up to do anything with it. My hands are both full and will be until about the area of 8:30, when I can peel myself away from reading the books and brushing the teeth and everything else that goes on with having a young family. Just that. Just whomever it is calling me, whatever auxiliary service professional is calling me about your transaction, an attorney, a mortgage professional, a contractor, knowing that I will get back to them at a certain point, takes the pressure off, gives them a sense of expectation of when things are going to be moved forward, when we can move the chains forward on whatever the problem is. 24-hour accountability is becoming a taboo, I think, in our world. People have private lives they don't want to be, nor does the human psyche really allow for, nor should it, frankly, allow for somebody to be accountable to anybody else or anything else for the entirety of a 24-hour period every day, every week, every year. That's not healthy. It'll drive you insane pretty quickly. That being said, the majority of us diligent real estate professionals, we're on a lot of the time. But being able to choose when we're on and effectively communicate that to the public and to anybody who is trying to reach us for whatever reason is really, really important. So, we talked in the previous episode about web presence. You will find me and Spectrum Real Estate Consultants team at Keller Williams, Northern Rhode Island, present literally every place. We're in every corner of social media, every platform, every advertising database for real estate. We are tireless in our SEO and SEM work. We are constantly trying to put out good content to the public, to drive engagement, to inform people, to make sure we are communicating as often and as best we can in every available platform. That should be the case of everyone you're trying to hire. Yes, I'm extremely busy. Yes, I have a lot of things to get done during a day. If you have contacted me in the morning and you do not hear from me by the afternoon, that's a problem. You have a need. I have a solution. If I am waiting a day, 2 days to just make contact with you, that's a problem. it doesn't take longer than 10 seconds to simply write a text message to you. I've got your phone number, you gave me a call, or you shot me an email, quickly returning that email saying, hey, I don't have a ton of time or bandwidth to devote to your new inquiry at this time, but I will get back to you at such and such time. Again, that setting of expectations is absolutely mission critical in a real estate transaction. And if you're not getting it at the absolute onset of your relationship or potential relationship with a realtor that you're looking to interview, red flag, full stop. The same is true regardless of how you have approached this professional, whether you are calling me, texting me, emailing me, sending comments on a video like this, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. If I am a lone wolf, which I'm not, you guys know through me reiterating this countless times, we are a team of professionals and we feel that our team structure allows us to leverage each other's manpower and man hours to be effective in stuff like this, to be ultra effective in communication and getting back to people as soon as humanly possible. But if you're interviewing that lone wolf, they better have systems in place to allow them to be just as equipped, just as effective. And if they don't, you're writing that down in the cons column, the negative column. If they can't do it for you, for one individual, how could they possibly expect to be effective in their on-time, timely communication with the rest of the individuals and companies, industries involved in a real estate transaction? They can't. So make sure you are looking at that first and foremost. Second, I would say, and probably you would too, is experience. You don't want the sale of the most important and probably most valuable asset in your lifetime being handled as a training ground for somebody cutting their teeth in the industry. Stinks for people who are just starting out. I was there once too. You got to find ways to gain experience. But the fact of the matter is you want to know that somebody you are working with on a real estate transaction has loads and loads of previous experience doing specifically what it is you need them to do. Now, how do we research whether or not somebody's got experience? And it's data, guys. I mean, the reviews is one thing, sure. You know, you go to Zillow, you can read about how long they've been doing real estate, but just the fact that somebody's held a real estate license for 15 years as I have does not mean they've done thousands and thousands of transactions as I have. What sort of transactions have they done? You should feel right. You should feel within your purview to be asking these sorts of questions and actually receiving data about it. Asking a realtor what they've done in their career is topical. They can inflate, they can blatantly lie, they can do whatever human beings might do in those sort of circumstances where they aren't held to a standard by a request for data. So ask. It's very easy for us realtors and members of the MLS to gather data on what transactions we've done per unit time, how many and what type. You know, we can offer these things to you, and you should, in some cases, on certain platforms, be able to research that. Especially in today's age of social media and internet being so prolific, the internet never forgets. You should be able to go back into time and look at these things. And if a realtor's claiming to have a real estate career for 15 years and you're only seeing 5 years worth of Facebook posts about work that they've done, you know, that's an inconsistency that you should address. Networking is also tremendous, and we've touched on this a lot of times during the previous videos. My relationships with everybody else involved in a real estate transaction is almost invaluable. We've talked specifically about being able to get certain industry professionals paid at closing or after closing as being just, it's completely invaluable tool in being able to get real estate transactions done. Sellers very often don't have any money. 60+% of the United States of America's population lives paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is much more than 60%. So lots of people who own homes still live paycheck to paycheck. They're going to have money, we hope, after the closing of the sale. But there's lots of things that could and might have to happen to allow the closing to happen that need to get paid for. Buyers, I mean, they're breaking the bank just to get into these homes these days. The affordability index is at I think 30 or 35-year low, it's very, very unaffordable to buy a home right now. Still a good idea based on equity positions and many, many other factors, but they're emptying out their pocketbooks completely, these buyers, to get into these homes in a lot of cases. So there's not a lot of extra capital sitting on either side, the buyer's or the seller's side of these transactions, that can be used to correct whatever items might be deficient in a home to get the sale across the finish line. Heaven forbid there's something like cloud on title. You know, some of these things can be very expensive to cure. Me being able to tell somebody I've done countless transactions with, don't worry, I got this, I'm gonna get you paid, this thing is gonna close, the money's gonna be there, and it's gonna get into your pocket for doing your job, is completely invaluable. Also, these folks know, because it might have happened once or twice before, that if something goes wrong, I'm gonna end up footing that bill, and that's fine, because I'm willing to pay for the relationship I have with you, because it has made me money and made you money many, many times. This is something that you can't get, period. You're not, listen, there's exceptions to every rule. I don't deal in absolutes. That's a SIF thing. But very, very difficult for a layperson or just a member of the general public to find, let's say, a contractor who's willing to do $15,000 worth of work on a roof or a chimney or whatever have you, so that a bank will actually clear the deal for financing and a sale will get done. Good luck with that. We realtors can make that happen, and your realtor having a network of these folks that they can lean on, whether it's getting them paid after closing or not, just having somebody that they can vouch for, that they very, very clearly understand the ethics of, you know, this service professional. They're prompt, they're responsive. You know, having a roster of individuals that you work with that can get everything needed done, especially within the time allotted to be able to get it done, is just incredibly, incredibly important and valuable for you as a seller and for everybody else involved. It will shorten the amount of time that it takes to get a real estate transaction across the finish line, or get it across the finish line at all. Tremendously important. So you get the idea. I think we have summed up all the various things you need to pay attention to very well. Let's move on to the next segment, and we'll see you there in number 4.